The national coat of arms of each Caribbean country is a series of elements organized in distinct oval places on top of each other with the motto of our country that denotes a rebirth independent state. It forms a heraldic achievement and a national emblem that represents the identity of our land and its people, and oftentimes symbolizes our source of power, courage, confidence, pride, willpower, and the source and ultimate wholeness of our existence. While a national flag is usually used by the population at large and is flown on buildings or ships, or is proudly wrapped around our triumphant, talented Caribbean athletes at the Olympics and world sporting events, a national coat of arms is normally considered a symbol of the government or the head of state and tends to be used in print, on armorial wear, and as a wall decoration in official buildings. In the medieval period, the coat of arms was pretty popular amongst knights as it was used as a sign of identification. This phenomenon has been passed down to this country, and to date, even families now pass down their symbols through generations by having a simple family crest. As time went on, some nations and even corporations adopted their own coat of arms. The coat of arms changed to represent the identity and achievements of a nation and its people, and an easy way to recognize what they hold most dear. This is no more true than in the Caribbean, which has some of the most unique coat of arms in the world. In this presentation, we will examine the various independent Caribbean countries' coats of arms and the meaning behind them that represent the identity of the Caribbean people, with many sharing common core elements indicating our shared history and culture. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for our future videos. In alphabetical order, let's start off with the twin island country of Antigua and Barbuda. Like all coat of arms, there is a shield at the center, which, like the country's flag, shows the sun rising from a blue and white sea. The sun symbolizes a new beginning, and the black background represents the African origins of many of the nation's citizens. At the bottom of the shield, in front of the sea, sits a sugar mill, iconic of the country's sugar industry. The sun rays represent the 6 parishes of Antigua and the island of Barbuda. At the top of the coat of arms is a pineapple, a fruit for which the islands are famous. There are several plants found around the shield, all abundant in the country: red hibiscus, sugarcane, and the agave plant. Supporting the shield are a pair of deer representing the wildlife found on the islands. At the bottom is a scroll where the national motto is written on a banner: each endeavoring, all achieving. Next is the most northern Caribbean nation of the Bahamas. The coat of arms of the Bahamas contains a shield with national symbols as its focal point. On the shield is a representation of the ship Santa Maria, below the sun and its rays. The Santa Maria was the largest of the 3 ships used by Christopher Columbus in his first voyage across the Atlantic Ocean in 1492 and was the one used when he discovered the islands. The ship is below the radiant sun to signify the world-famous balmy resort climate, and it also connotes the bright future of these islands. On either side of the shield is a flamingo, the national bird of the Bahamas, and a silvery blue marlin. On top of the shield is a light pink conch shell, symbolizing the marine life of the Bahamas. The top of the crest is composed of wavy green palm fronds, symbolic of the natural vegetation. Beneath the shield is the national motto of the island: forward, upward, onward, together. Up next, we have the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados. At the center of the country's golden shield are the bearded fig tree and 2 pride of Barbados flowers. The bearded fig, Ficus citrifolia, has a long history in Barbados. It is said that when the Portuguese first landed on the island, they named it Los Barbados after these magnificent trees that are in abundance across the island. The aerial roots, when young, give the appearance of a bearded tree. The roots eventually fuse with the parent tree, forming a maze of intricately woven trunks. The Pride of Barbados appears in the upper right and left-hand corners of the shield and is the national flower of the island. The left side of the shield is supported by a dolphin, or mahi-mahi, which is symbolic of the local fishing industry. And on the right side of the shield, there is a pelican, the country's national bird, and the name of a small island which was off the west coast of the island, where the birds would live. Above the shield are a helmet and mantling on a wreath, with an arm and hand of a Barbadian above it, holding two pieces of sugarcane that are crossed, representing the ever-important sugar industry of the past. The cross formed above the helmet by the sugarcane is a reference to the popular St. Andrew's cross, St. Andrew patron saint of mariners, fishermen, singers, and performers. St. Andrew's Day is also the day of Barbados' independence, 30th of November 1966. The coat of arms carries the country's motto at the bottom, pride and industry. Shifting over to the west of the Caribbean, we have the country of Belize. Belize's coat of arms is unique in that it is encumbered by a wreath of 50 leaves, which symbolizes the year 1950, when the Anti-Colonial People's Committee was formed. The shield of the coat of arms is divided into three sections, a vertical line, and an inverted V. The base section represents a ship in full sail on waves of the sea. The two upper sections show tools of the timber industry in Belize, a paddle and a squaring axe in the right section, and a saw and a beating axe in the left section. Supporting the shield on both sides are two woodcutters, the one on the right holding a beating axe over his shoulder in his right hand, and the one on the left holding a paddle over his shoulder in his left hand. The two woodcutters are also of different ethnicities, representing the diverse backgrounds of its people, but united under one nation. Above the shield rises a mahogany tree, a symbol of the nation's large and robust presence. Below we have possibly one of the best mottos in the Caribbean. Shield is the motto scroll, sub umbra floreo, which is Latin for under the shade I flourish. The first Spanish-speaking country on our list is Cuba. It consists of a shield supported by an oak branch on one side and a laurel wreath on the other. Cuba's coat of arms is very simple, with a shield in the center divided into three. At the top third is a golden key which symbolizes Cuba's key position among the two Americas, therefore from where the name the Key to the Gulf comes from. Behind the key, the rising sun stands for the emergence of a new nation. The three blue stripes, separated by the two white ones on the left third of the shield, have the same meaning as the flag, representing the sections the country was divided into at the time of independence. On the right third of the shield, we find the royal palm, another national symbol representing the virtuous, undefeated resilience of the Cuban people. Surrounding the shield are two branches with their respective fruit bordering it. One of the branches is that of the laurel plant, and the one on the left is that of the holly oak. Cuba is unique here again, because the country's motto, Patria o muerte, venceremos, homeland or death, we shall overcome, is not printed on the national emblem. Next on our list, we have the southern giant in the Caribbean, Guyana. The shield which sits in the center of the arms is decorated with a national flower, the Victoria Regia lily, and is at the top of the shield to protect the nation. The three blue wavy lines below the flower represent the many rivers and abundant waters of Guyana. The country's national bird, the Kanya pheasant, is at the bottom of the shield and is a rare bird found principally in this part of the world. Atop the shield, there is a native headdress that symbolizes the Amerindians, the indigenous people of the country. The two diamonds at the side of the headdress represent the country's mining industry. On each flank of the shield are jaguars, one holding a pickaxe, again signifying the country's mining culture, and the other holding a sugarcane and a stalk of rice, symbolizing the two main agricultural industries of the country, sugar and rice. The nation's motto is at the bottom, one people, one nation, one destiny. We continue our list with the oldest independent country in the Caribbean, Haiti. The oldest use of this coat of arms for Haiti goes back to 1807, but its current form was amended only in 1986. Apart from its age, Haiti coat of arms is also unique in that it does not technically conform to the rules of heraldry, which traditional coat of arms do. It is technically a national emblem. But why is this? Well, for starters, there is no shield or supports, which generally flank a shield. The symbol instead shows 6 draped flags of the country, 3 on each side and slightly behind a central palm tree, and cannons on a green lawn. In the foreground upon a lawn are various items, including a drum, bugles, cannonballs, and ship anchors. Above the palm tree, there is a liberty cap placed as a symbol of freedom. The symbol is taken as a whole to indicate the country's battle for independence and its struggle to become a republic. Below it all is a ribbon that bears the words "L'union fait la force," which is French for "Unity makes strength." We now have possibly the most recognizable coat of arms from the Caribbean, the coat of arms for the country of Jamaica. At the center of the country's coat of arms is a shield with a red cross on a white background with 5 golden pineapples on it. Pineapples are an indigenous and staple fruit of the island, and the red and white represent the blood of its people and the purity of its waters. On either side of the coat of arms, there is a male and female member of the native Taino people, Jamaica's first inhabitants. They both wear the traditional dress of skirts with a red waistband. The male Taino wears a headdress with alternating short white and red feathers and holds a bow in his left hand. The female Taino wears a similar headdress but with a red feather and white ermine headband, and she holds a basket of fruits in her right hand, indicating the country's bountiful harvest. Atop the shield is a crown with connections to the country's British history, and on top of the crown rests a crocodile, which is an indigenous reptile of Jamaica. At the feet of the coat of arms is the Jamaican motto, "Out of many, one people." Continuing on our list, we have the tiny island of Dominica. The design depicts a shield divided into 4 quarters by a cross. This is a subtle reference to the island's name as it was discovered on a Sunday, in Spanish, Domingo. In the first quarter on the top left, you see the black volcanic soil of Dominica supporting a coconut tree, a common scene seen on the island. The next quarter shows a fully developed banana stem bearing a mature bunch of fruits, referring to the island's bountiful fruit trees. The third quarter shows the island's animal nature with a picture of the country's famous crapaud, a frog found on the island. The final quarter shows a canoe under sail gliding across the Caribbean Sea, showing the country's connection to the water. A wreath of silver and blue bears stands on top of the shield, with a golden lion standing upon a black rocky mount. On both sides of the shield, we see the country's national bird, the Ciceroo parrot, or Amazona imperialis, a beautiful bird native to the island. Like all coat of arms, at the bottom bears the inscription "Appris bondi c'est la terre," which in French means "God the earth," emphasizing the importance of the soil on the island, with its economy based on agriculture. The second Spanish-speaking country on our list is the Dominican Republic. The country's coat of arms features a shield at the center which is the same color as the flag. Thus, the red reminds of the blood of the fighters during the independence struggle. The blue symbolizes the waters and the skies covering the country, and the white expresses peace and union among the Dominicans. The shield of the Dominican Republic is unique here, in that it depicts an intricate pattern of colors and shapes. In the center of the shield, flanked by 6 spears, the front 4 holding the national flag, is a Bible which is open to John 8:31-32, with a small golden cross above it. Left of the shield is a bay laurel branch, and on the right is a palm leaf, common plants on the island. The Dominican Republic again is unique in that it is the country's coat of arms to have its motto above the shield and not before, where the words inscribed are Dios Patria Libertad, or God, Homeland, Liberty. Below the shield, the words República Dominicana appear on a red ribbon. Moving on to the Spice Isle of Grenada, we have a most memorable coat of arms. At the center of the shield, we have, similar to the coat of arms of the Bahamas, the Santa Maria, the flagship of Columbus's fleet, as the island of Grenada was sighted by Columbus. The shield is divided into quarters, with two of them depicting the English lion, a symbol of strength, and the other two depicting a crescent out of which comes a white lily, the symbol of St. Mary representing the Catholic population, and for the original name of the island, Conception Island. At the top of the shield, there are 7 flowers on a helmet representing the 7 parishes on the island, and it is set between a wreath of bougainvilleas, the national flower. On either side of the shield are a set of local animals. On the left, tattoo or armadillo, which is commonly found on the island, and on the right is the Grenada dove, both representing the fauna on the islands. The whole shield is placed on the ground, which symbolizes the 2 mountains on the major lake, Grand Etang, on the island. The motto, ever conscious of God, we aspire, build, and advance as one people, is itself sufficiently eloquent on the subject of those high ideals and principles upon which the nation is founded. Our second twin island nation of St. Kitts and Nevis continues our list of Caribbean coat of arms. We have a shield here again, which has a ship called a lighter in full sail, which is a traditional means of transportation. A red chevron is highlighted by 2 ponciana flowers, the national flower of the country. On the upper half of the shield on a dark blue background is the head of a Carib native with a fleur-de-lis and a red rose on either side. This depicts the original Carib inhabitants along with the fleur-de-lis and a rose, signifying the French and English influences on the island. Atop the shield is a helmet topped with battlements with a flaming torch, held up by the hands and arms of an African, European, and a person of mixed descent. The torch signifies the struggle and quest for freedom by a people of diverse ethnic origins, but united in purpose. On either side of the shield are pelicans, the national bird of the country, both with extended wings. By the side of the bird can be seen a sugarcane plant and a coconut tree, which demonstrates the fertility of the land. The country's country above self is below the shield and can be said to be the foundation of everything else. Moving on, we have the island of St. Lucia, which has elements of different Caribbean countries. The shield at the center of the coat of arms is much smaller, however, which is divided into quarters by a bamboo cross, which is the national plant of the country. At the center of this cross is an African stool, which reminds citizens of their African ancestors who were shipped from Africa during the slave trade. In 2 of the quarters, one can see a rose, and in the other 2 quarters, the fleur-de-lis. Similar to St. Kitts and Nevis, these 2 flowers represent the French and English influences on the island. At the top of the shield lies a helmet which guards over the below tenant. Above that is a torch held by a hand to light the nation on its way. On either side of the shield, we have the St. Lucian parrot Amazona, a similar bird found on the Dominican coat of arms, which is also the national bird of St. Lucia. To complete it all, at the bottom lay the land, the people, the light. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is again another interesting coat of arms in that it does not have supporters or objects on either side of its shield. On the shield, there are 2 women in classical Roman dress. The one on the left stands holding an olive branch, and the one on the right holds scales of justice and kneels before an altar situated between them. At the top of the shield sits the cotton plant and leaves, highlighting the country's connection to the growing of this instrumental plant. At the bottom of the shield is simply the country's motto, Pax et Justitia, meaning peace and justice in Latin. Going back to the bottom of the Caribbean in terms of geographic location, we have the country of Suriname. The country's coat of arms is another simple one like that of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in so that it does not have a core element usually found in other coat of arms, a crest, or the top piece above the shield. The shield in the center is divided in half. On one side is a trade ship on the water representing Suriname's colonial past as a source of cash crops and its present-day involvement in international commerce. On the other half is a royal palm which represents both the rainforests that covers 2/3 of the country and the country's involvement in agribusiness. At the center, there is a diamond shape that represents the mining industry, and inside that shape is a star, which symbolizes the 5 continents from which the inhabitants of Suriname immigrated. On either side of the shield, it is supported by 2 indigenous men carrying a bow and arrows, paying homage to the country's original inhabitants, and at the bottom of it all we can find the country's motto, which reads, Justitia Pietas Fides, meaning justice, piety, and fidelity. Trinidad and Tobago coat of arms incorporate important historical and indigenous elements of these twin islands. On the shield are the 2 gold hummingbirds above 3 gold ships which represent the trinity by which Trinidad got its name, and the discovery of the islands by Columbus on the 3 ships, the Santa Maria, the Nina, and the Pinta. All of it represents the sea that brought the people together and the commerce and wealth of the country. The colors of the national flag are displayed on the shield. At the top of the shield is a ship's wheel in gold in front of a fruited coconut palm. This palm had always been the central figure on the great seas of British colonial Tobago. Beneath the wheel is the wreath which holds the mantle in place. On the left side of the shield, you find the scarlet ibis, the national bird of Trinidad, and on the right and on the coquelicot, the national bird of Tobago, both of which are shown in their natural colors. Below the shield are 3 mountain peaks, which commemorated both Columbus's decision to name Trinidad after the Blessed Trinity and the 3 peaks of the southern mountain range, called the 3 Sisters. Inscribed on the scroll is the motto, Together we aspire, together we achieve, which speaks for itself and promotes harmony in diversity for national development. Check out this video on what the Caribbean countries are known for. Let us know in the comment section below which Caribbean coat of arms is your favorite and why. We would love to hear from you. If you got value from this video, we would greatly appreciate it if you would give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for our next video. Thank you. This is J-irie Caribbean.